Okay, this class is about pest management. And basically how to get rid of pests in your house without killing everything else while you're at it. I was taught the class by the Texas Cooperative Extension, so I could teach it to you. So this is their way of doing things to get rid of pests. The objectives of the program are to prevent pest problems without using pesticides if at all possible, and increase your awareness of it. Teach alternative and less toxic than just going to Home Depot and buying the worst thing you can think of to get rid of a roach or whatever. And actually, homeowners are the worst abusers of pesticides. I think maybe it's because pest control people know more about it. Homeowners typically use way more than they need to. Okay, so the way they want you to go about things is first you figure out what it is you're trying to get rid of. Then sanitize, that's always the answer to everything. Keep it clean, then they won't have any reason to come in. Exclude, this is physical ways to keep them out, and if none of that works, then C, the last thing is control. Okay, I pretty much said that already. Okay, to avoid pest problems, you want to break the triangle. Basically, what they're looking for in your house is water, food, and a nice place to live, which is what anybody's looking for in a house, I guess. Okay, and they go on and on about this program in this presentation, but it's basically to prevent. I mean, that's true about everything, health, pest control, whatever, rather than trying to deal with it once it's there, which is a lot harder. Okay, it's environmentally friendly, it's better for you. Pesticides, you know, even if you use them on your lawn or whatever, put it down the drain, it runs down, it gets in the water, it's going to get back into you eventually, and that's not a good thing. Okay. The basic thing that you need to know about doing it this way is that it's not as immediate as zapping something with a can of spray and having it die immediately. That's not how it works. They're not going to die that fast. So you just have to be aware of that. Okay, here we go. I don't know why they want to say the same thing over and over again, but here we go. Okay, it's very important to figure out what you're looking at before you try to kill it, because if you try to kill an ant with wasp spray, it's not going to work, and vice versa. If you don't know what it is, which is probably pretty likely you won't know what it is, you can take a picture of it. You can try to capture one and take a picture of it, put it in your freezer, which doesn't seem like a great idea to me, but that's what they think you should do. Put it in rubbing alcohol, and then you can take it to somebody, either at the agricultural extension or whatever. You can do it online, or take it to Home Depot or whatever and see if they can figure out what it is and get you the right thing to deal with it. Okay, I already said that. If I don't want to capture it, which is, you know, more likely you're going to want to step on it, aren't you? Rather than capture it. So everybody has a phone usually that you can take a picture with. Just take a picture of it. Okay, and I already went through that. Okay, so that was the first thing. Identify. Anybody have any questions about identify? Pretty straightforward. None of this is rocket science, really. Okay, the second thing is eliminate what they're wanting to come in for. Thank you. Which means keep food in pest-proof containers, and that means something with a locking lid for the most part. Tightly reseal open food packages, and that doesn't mean you have to take your cereal out of the box and put it in something with a lid. Just make sure that it's rolled down tight so nothing can get in it. Pet food is the best thing to put in a pest-proof container because unless you get one of those with the locking top, they're not very. And usually they're on the floor in the cupboard or whatever, and it's easier for something to get in pet food than pretty much anything else, really. Sugar you don't have to worry about. Flour, it's a good idea to put in something else. Anything else? Anyway, don't leave food out overnight, and anybody that lives in this climate is not going to leave food out overnight anyway, because it's going to spoil. Don't leave dirty dishes in the sink. They can crawl up the drain. They can. It's amazing how bugs can smell things. It's kind of scary, actually. Clean kitchen counters, tables, and floors often. We have a dog who cleans the floor for us. If you don't have that, then make sure you don't drop. You know, if you drop crumbs on the floor, that you get them right away. My kitchen counters are dark, and it's really hard to see anything on them. I have to kind of go like this to see if there's dirt on the countertop. If you have white counters, that's not so much of a problem. But I find my husband puts things, and just leaves messes on the counter, and then you can't see him, and he doesn't like to hold his head sideways, I guess. So anyway, clean up. If something spills, clean it up immediately, which is kind of a duh kind of thing anyway. But okay, another ways of sanitizing is to only eat in the kitchen or the dining room. If you eat all over the house, you're gonna, have crumbs in your bed or whatever, and it's gonna attract bugs. Sweep and vacuum. Caulk cracks around pantry shelves so that you don't get stuff caught in the cracks. Well, you're moving into a brand new house, you're not going to have to worry about that for a while. But as things get older and they start to shrink and pull away from the wall, just caulk around there so that pieces of rice or whatever don't get in the cracks and attract bugs. And of course, if you find anything infested, throw it out. Don't try to. One thing we get here is weevils, in flour and stuff like that. And if you see that, don't try to save the flour. It's not that expensive, because you're not going to get them all, and it's not a good idea. Just chuck it. Okay, take the garbage out several times a week. Don't leave it under the sink with garbage, which is going to smell in this climate anyway. So that's kind of another duh thing, I think. And if you use a plastic bag, you don't have to wash the inside of the garbage can. And I know you guys don't have recycling here. You have to take it someplace, isn't that correct? Anybody know? I don't think they have curbside recycling in Conroe. I think you have to take it someplace. But if you collect recycling, which is a good thing, be sure you clean it before you put it in the recycling container. And that's true for the recycle people anyway. If it's dirty, they can't use it, and they end up just throwing it in the landfill anyway. Okay, drains. I think it's really creepy when you see them coming up the drain into the sink. You can flush them with boiling water. That will kill anything. Clean drains with a stiff brush. Grout is the same thing as, just keeping the floors clean. Don't, I know it's all don't right now, but don't leave piles of newspapers or magazines or whatever, because they think that's a great place to live. Don't put that kind of stuff in the attic, because if you get something in your attic, they're going to start chewing on the wires and stuff, and that's just a really bad things. So you don't want to leave them any place that they can, you know, piles of clothes or whatever. Don't put them in the attic because you're going to get infestations of bugs or rodents or whatever in them. And that's true about if you have a pile of something against the outside of your house, especially wood. Rats like to live in piles of wood. We had a neighbor once. We had a 0 lot line house, and the neighbor put his wood pile against our house, and we got rats in the atrium, and it was like, ugh. I tried to talk to him, and it was impossible. But anyway, that was awful. Anyway, okay, so see this guy here sealing openings around pipes and electrical wiring with caulk, and they're going to definitely do that for you before you move in. But that's one thing that you should check, like once a year you should go around and check the caulk and make sure that it's all still good on your house. If you can see daylight around your doors, replace the weather stripping. That's not going to happen right away either, but that's also true for letting the air conditioning out, letting the heat out, just keeping the place airtight, not just for bugs, but for your bills. Keep window, did they give you screens? I can't remember if they give you screens. Yeah. Yeah, so that's another kind of duh thing. Keep the screens in good repair, because obviously if there's a hole in the screen, the bugs are going to fly in. Most of the time screens get messed up from if you have a cat or something like that that likes to climb on a screen. We've had that problem too. Anyway, and it's really easy to repair a screen. You can buy a little kit and just paste a circle on, or it's actually, I have actually replaced the screen. You take it apart and you roll out the new stuff, and there's a little tool and you just put it back together. It's really, if I can do it, it's easy. And then you can put screening wire over vents, like dryer vents, or weep holes or whatever, where pests would come in. Again, I think they're going to take care of all that for you in the beginning. But you need to make sure it doesn't get dislodged. And you need to walk around the house periodically, again, maybe once a year, and make sure that like squirrels will chew holes in the siding to get in. If there's a little hole, they'll make it bigger. So you just have to be aware of stuff. Okay. I already went over the airtight containers thing. You can buy this kind of stuff in Walmart, and it's not that expensive. Don't buy damaged goods or infested products. I mean, come on, who's going to buy infested products? That's kind of silly. Anyway. Store dried food products in the refrigerator or freezer. If you're going away for a month or whatever, put the flour in the freezer. It'll keep it better, and then you don't have to worry about it. And it won't hurt it. You can put any kind of dried stuff in the freezer and it won't hurt it. Okay. Use a garbage container with a closed lid, and that's true for around here. There's going to be lots of little animal critters and stuff that you don't want to be getting in your garbage. Besides rats. I don't know if they have raccoons around here. Raccoons can make a huge mess. I usually bring steel wool, and I forgot. But if you have weep holes in your house, you can put steel wool in them, or any kind of place where you want to be able to exclude something but still let the air and the water go through. Steel wool is a great thing to use, and they have it at Home Depot. And it's otherwise you use it for carpentry. Not the kind of steel wool that you clean your pots with, but the kind that you use to sand stuff for the final sand in carpentry. And it's 0.0 steel wool, and it's really cheap. It's a cheap way to do things. Okay, I already talked about firewood. You don't want to have the tops of the trees touching your house, and that's not going to be a big deal right now, but as the trees get bigger, that just gives them a nice way to walk onto your roof and to be able to get on there so they can find something to chew their way in. And the other thing that marches across trees to get onto your house would be something like carpenter ants. You know, they'll just, and that's one of the things that you kind of have to know what you're looking for. If you see little piles of sawdust inside the window frames, it's carpenter ants. And they're saying if you're going to feed your pets outside, don't do it right by the door, because pets are messy eaters. The other thing about feeding your pets outside is don't just leave food in a bowl outside, because that's how they get worms. Mosquitoes will lay stuff on the food, and it's not good for the pets. So if they're not going to eat it right away, pick it up, bring it inside. Okay, so if none of that worked and you still have something that you don't want to be living in your house, start with the most basic physical way of getting rid of it first. Fly paper, mouse traps, roach motels, those are all non-chemical. They're not going to hurt anything except for the bug, of course. And it's a good way to start. And this says use the vacuum cleaner to help control fleas. That's ridiculous. The vacuum cleaner's not going to control fleas. If you get fleas in your house, you're going to have to bomb it, and that's all there is to that. We used to, before they had flea pills for dogs, and really for dogs and cats, if you're going to have an animal, you need to do flea control on the animal rather than having to deal with fleas in your house, which is awful. Believe me, it's awful. You buy it, and it's something that you put it on the back of their neck, and it'll keep it away for a month or 2 or 3, depending on what you buy. Does anybody have a pet? Yeah, so you know all about that. Plus, you know, it's just so much nicer for the pet that they're not scratching all the time. And fleas will go from them to you in a heartbeat. And they get in the carpet. Yeah.
Levi's all over me right now.
From what?
My friend has 2 or 3 cats and a dog.
Yeah, all you need to do is buy that flea stuff. I know it's expensive, but it's well worth it.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, it's awful. And God, I went into a rent house once, and they were leaping up on my ankles out of the. Ugh, that was disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and itch should drive you crazy.
Oh no, I've itched so much that I'm like getting sore, so I like putting like any type of anti-itch stuff on it. It's just not working.
Try ice cubes.
I've heard that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Ugh. Anyway, if you want to try to use the vacuum cleaner to control fleas or whatever, you need to, as soon as you vacuum everything up, take the vacuum cleaner out and put it outside in a bag. You know, don't just leave the vacuum cleaner bag in there where they can reproduce inside the vacuum cleaner bag. Anyway, but before they had those flea pills and the flea stuff, we used to have dogs and they would get fleas, and there was just no other way to get it out of the house besides buying one of those flea bombs and getting out of the house for 3 hours or whatever. It's a pain in the neck. So you want to avoid that from the start. Not have to deal with that. Okay. Then if the fly strip or whatever, which is, fly strips are just sticky stuff and they fly into them and they get stuck on it. Then the next thing to go is a bait, which is a chemical bait, and it's not going to hurt anything unless they actually eat it. Ant baits you put under the sink. You can put stuff along the baseboards around the edge of your house so nothing can get in. And one of the things that I always recommend, boric acid. You can buy it at Walgreens. I think this great big thing was like $2.99, something like that. It's not very expensive. and you put it all around the edge of your house, around the baseboards. You can put it in the pantry, around the corners, that kind of thing. And this is mostly for roaches. Roaches step in it and it does something to their nervous system or whatever. And again, it doesn't kill them immediately, but it will keep them from coming in. So you kill what's in there, and then you put this around, and it keeps them from coming in. Yeah, you can pass it around if you want. Pass it around. We'll look and see what it is. And it won't hurt. Boric acid won't hurt dogs or cats or children or anything. And if you're going to use an insecticide spray, you can use it in a very specific location rather than bombing the whole house. Okay, they sell all kinds of stuff. If you go to Lowe's or Home Depot, there's a wall full of that stuff. You just need to look at the box and look at the can or whatever, and make sure that you're buying the right thing for what the problem is. Okay, the most important thing in this screen is follow the label instructions. Use only the amount listed. More is not better. You're wasting your money for one thing, and it's not going to kill them any faster if you put twice as much on. Never put it on food, and then once you've done it, always wash your hands afterwards so that it's not on your hands. Keep children and pets out until it's dry. That's going to be on the label. Okay, there's 3 kinds of pesticides. And if you look at the label, every pesticide label will have one of these 3 words on it: caution, warning, or danger. And sometimes the danger one has a little cross skull bone thing also. You want to start with the ones that say caution, if at all possible, and then you can move up to warning, and then danger is, just because they sell it over the counter doesn't mean it's not dangerous. So you need to be really, really careful with this stuff, because it's caustic chemicals, and it can hurt you. Okay, and if you buy pesticides, never pour it down the drain. That means it's going to get into the water supply. Never reuse a container, because there's no way you can really clean all that stuff off of plastic or metal or whatever. You don't want to be using it for water and camping or whatever. It'll tell you how to get rid of it on the label. Most of the time, if there's anything left in there, they want you to take it to a recycle place, because you can't pour it down the drain and you can't really put it in the garbage. So, I mean, it's dangerous stuff. Okay, so you've tried roach motels, you've tried fly strips, you've tried spraying stuff, and you still have bugs in your house. Okay, the next thing to do is to call somebody, right? Don't just call anybody. Don't call your Uncle Joe's friend, you know, who everybody says can do this, because you need to know that they know what they're doing. Because they're working with chemicals, they're working with poison. They'll have a license, you can ask them. Get several quotes. I always do that with everything. And then use the one in the middle. A lot of times the low quote means that they're cutting corners somewhere. Doesn't always, but it never hurts to just ask about whatever. Okay, that's the end of the first part. And if you look at the handout, I gave you a lot of other things that you can use that are not chemically. Just things that people don't know necessarily. Baking soda is good for an awful lot of things. Under termites, it says survey your home's foundation. what you're really looking for termites is they build these little tunnels of dirt up the walls, and you'll see them starting at the ground, just coming up the concrete part to where they can get at some wood. And it's very easy to see. Once you've seen it once, you'll know what it looks like. You just need to check the house once a year or whatever, or twice a year. Just walk around the edge of the house and look for these little tunnels. I never heard of catnip, but some of these things are kind of interesting. Mint. Who would have thought? Okay. Here's another thing to pass around. And this one has things that are already in your kitchen that you can use for pest control. Liquid detergent is a really good thing for an insecticide, and you can also put that on your plants. You just mix it with water and put it in a sprayer and spray it most of the time on the underside of the leaves, and that'll kill aphids, which is what we get a lot of here, and it'll kill a lot of things. Just soap. You don't have to buy expensive stuff to put on your plants if you think you have a bug problem on your plants. Another good way to get rid of stuff on plants is to just take water in a hose and a really strong spray and blast the underside of the leaves, and it just knocks them off. And it works. It's besides being way cheaper, it's better for the environment, it's better for the plant. You probably don't have a whole lot of, you do get a class in gardening, don't you? I think you might, but and you can buy insecticidal soap, or you can just use dish soap. It's amazing. Borax, I already talked to you about. Anyway, it's just some ideas to just keep and have in case you have a problem. All right, now we're going to go on to the next bit. If I can get this open.
Oh, you got it. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions? No? Has everybody already dealt with bugs before? No problems? I saw one of those reality show things where they were people with, it was called Dirty Houses, I think. And oh my God, they went in and the lady opened the drawer and there was just crawling with roaches in it. Oh, that was gross. Closed it before I took it out. Where's the cursor? Maybe I shouldn't have put that in so fast. The next thing we're going to talk about is mosquitoes. If I can get this thing in here. is not responding nonsense. Right, computers can't live with them, can't live without them, right? Here we go. Okay. Mosquitoes are a big deal right now with the Zika virus. Also, the other kinds of things that they transmit in this area are St. Louis encephalitis and West Nile virus, none of which are fun. So we want to get rid of mosquitoes in our general vicinity if at all possible, besides the fact that they bite you and make you itch. It's never a good thing. So, mosquitoes breed in stagnant water, and it can be as small as like a thimbleful. They're not very big, they don't need very much. So what you need to do to keep mosquitoes out of your yard is eliminate the breeding sites. So they're starting with clogged rain gutters and downspouts. You don't have them on your houses right now, but if you put gutters on your house, you need to be sure to get them clean, because if water stands in them, mosquitoes will breed in them, and it's not a good thing. Okay, change your pet water. If your pet has water outside, change it every day. They'll probably drink it every day, but if not, change it every day. If you have a bird bath in your backyard, which is a lovely thing, and the birds really need the water right now, you can change it twice a week. Another thing that you can do in a bird bath is put in a mosquito dunk. I'll pass these around. Again, these you can get at Home Depot. They don't cost very much. You don't put the whole thing in a bird bath. It's not very big. You can take a little piece of it off and just stick it in there. And these are a kind of bacteria or something like that. I forgot exactly what it is, but they basically eat the larva. So it's a nice biological, and it won't hurt birds, and it won't hurt anything except the mosquitoes. Okay, if you're gonna keep outdoor plants on outside your house in pots, don't put a saucer underneath it, because the saucer's gonna hold water. And that's a wonderful place for them to breed, or an empty pot, or see, this thing's got a little, this basketball hoop's got a little indentation in it. I don't know why they would do that for an outdoor thing. Just be sure that that doesn't fill up with water. Okay, cut tall grasses and weeds. You don't have to worry about ditches. But okay, don't leave trash around your house. And this, see that plastic thing? That collects a little bit of water in the rain. That is enough for mosquitoes. And this is true about garbage bags too. If you have garbage bags outside and it rains, you're going to get a little bit of water in it, and that is enough for mosquitoes to breed. Okay, don't overwater. If it's running off your yard, you're creating breeding sites someplace at the bottom of the sewer or whatever. Plus, you know, you're paying a lot for that water. You don't want it to run off your yard, do you? It's not helping anything if it's running down the street. So this doesn't have anything to do with mosquitoes, but just make sure that the sprinklers, if you're going to run sprinkler on your yard, that you've moved it so that it's not hitting the driveway or anything that you're just wasting the water. I think I heard we're in drought again. I can't believe it. You know, it rained so much this spring, and now we're in drought again. Okay, don't wash grass clippings down the storm drain. They create a little, at the bottom of the storm drain, they create a nice little place for water to collect and mosquitoes breed. That's why when the mosquito bugger trucks come and spray, that's where they spray. They spray down the storm drains because the water will collect down there. Don't help them. Okay, properly maintain pools. Don't have to worry about that. A lot of times, there, the place where the water meter is fills up with water. Just throw a dunk in there. There's nothing you can do about the water in there. But any place that you have standing water that you can't deal with, that's what those dumps are for. And I think they last for 3 months, something like that. It says on the package. So you don't have to do it very often. Okay, this is something that I never would have thought of. Brick holes. If you build a little brick thing for gardening around your bricks, have holes in them. Either put, when you're building it, put it sideways so the holes aren't up to fill with water, or you can, if it's already there, you can fill up the holes with sand. You can buy clay sand again at Home Depot, and you get this 60-pound bag that you can't even lift for like $2. It's cheap. Okay, tree holes. If you cut down a tree, it's going to start decomposing from the bottom up, and it sinks in, and then you've got a hole in the tree that can hold water, and mosquitoes can breed in that. So again, just fill it up with sand. It's the easiest thing. Meter boxes I already talked about. Okay, they're saying tropical plants attract mosquitoes. I mean, you don't want to not have tropical plants. That's not, this is practically a tropical climate, so I don't know why they put that in there, but the reason they attract mosquitoes is because they are trying to collect water in their leaves. That's what tropical plants do, and there's a lot of times there's little reservoirs for them. So you can take that any way you want. I wouldn't not do a tropical plant just because of this. Same thing, you know, the water collects in those leaves. But really here, it dries up so fast that, you know, in summer, then I don't think that's really a problem. Bamboo, if you have bamboo, and actually, if you buy bamboo, you gotta be really careful about what kind of bamboo you buy because it's very invasive and it will cover everything in a fairly short amount of time, and it's really hard to get rid of. So anyway, if you get bamboo and you cut it down, it's going to leave these canes with the holes in them, and just be aware of stuff, basically. Soggy low areas, hopefully they'll have graded your lawn so you won't have to deal with that. Dripping faucets, leaky air conditioners, leaky pipes, any place where water is going to drip out and collect. And you want to fix that kind of stuff anyway, because that's going to make your water bill shoot up like no man's business if you've got anything leaking. Okay, if you put in a water feature or pond, there's actually something called a mosquito fish. Who knew? They eat the larvae. A lot of things eat mosquito larvae. Those skeeters that go across the top of a pond, they eat mosquito larvae. Frogs, probably bats. Okay, treat standing water. This is the bacterial larvicide. That's the dumps that I was talking about. Okay, so to avoid being bitten, dawn and dusk are the worst times for mosquitoes. And I know that it's hotter than hell here, and you want to mow your lawn when it's coolest, and this is when it's coolest. So if you're going to go out and mow your lawn at dusk, spray yourself with bug spray before you go. Or wear long pants and long sleeves, which, you know, a lot of the lawn guys wear long pants and long sleeves. I don't know how they can stand it. That's the best way, but I mean, if you're going to die of heat frustration, it's not going to be worth it. Use fans to keep air moving. That will actually blow them away from you. If you want to sit outside and have a picnic and you don't want bugs around, have a fan. It's amazing how that works. It's better than citronella candle or any of those kind of things. And again, just spray yourself with bug spray, and you can buy, what do they call it? Bug spray that's not real toxic. I mean, you don't have to get off. You can get off that's not as toxic. It's called For Children or something like that. It's an orange little plastic bottle. I should have bought that too. I didn't think of it. Anyway, I read somewhere too that if you rub yourself with a dryer sheet, that helps, and the Avon Skin So Soft is supposed to help. There's all kinds of old wives' tales that may or may not be true. I even read somewhere if you put a dryer sheet in your pocket, it helps. So couldn't hurt anything, could it? Okay. Does anybody have any questions? We're just about right on time. Okay, well, you're good then. I guess we're done.